Hello! Welcome back to another day of streaming our video game development, currently called Dream Machine. I'm Joshua Blair, the CEO and founder of Icebreaker Games. Thank you guys for joining us. Today is officially day 20 of development, so I think we've made pretty good progress so far with this project. I'm really excited about where it's going, but I really want to continue it. I really want to get into it. It's actually been hard for me to not want to keep dedicating more and more time every day to this project, which is a good thing. That's kind of how you want your projects to be. You want to look forward to working on them versus dreading working on them. I will say yesterday was a little tough with development, and these things happen. Throughout the development process, everything's not going to just magically go smoothly all day long every day. So yesterday what we did was we were working on the other scene here. I'll go ahead and load that. We were working on this other scene, and ultimately what we were trying to do is create a third-person shooter controller for our character here. And I was following this tutorial from a YouTuber called Code Monkey, and I really recommend him. He's really awesome. I really enjoy his videos and his tutorials. But the one that I just happened to be following, I didn't realize that he doesn't actually finish the tutorial, and there were some issues that we were having yesterday. So ultimately I had to revert back. That's one of the good things about using like GitHub, which I use. Most of the time it's off camera just because it takes a long time to upload, but I use GitHub for version control, and ultimately I decided I would just revert everything that we did yesterday. So we basically lost an entire day's of work, but like I said, this happens in the industry all the time, especially when we're only doing like these 2-hour, 2.5 hour increments. It's really easy to hit a roadblock for 2 hours, for 2.5 hours. But today I'm thinking we're going to take another try at it, but instead of following the tutorial, we're just going to do it from scratch. We're going to just do it my way, essentially. It may still be difficult. We may still run into roadblocks. The third-person shooter controller is a difficult concept, especially to perfect. And I'm not saying by any means that we will be able to perfect it today, but we will over time. So as long as we have at least something that's fun and playable, then I think I'm good with it for now, and then we will perfect as we go along. So instead of working on this same scene that we worked on yesterday, I think I'm going to go ahead and work on the apocalyptic city scene here. And so we're gonna work with one of the armored versions of the kid character, the son character. I think that will be just fine. Let's say I think it was version 2 that I like the most. So I think we'll work on this guy here. And my goal is to give him a pistol, give him some aiming concepts, give him a crosshair, get some shooting mechanics, maybe some shooting sounds, and then see where we can go from there. I will say today is going to be a shorter day than usual, probably only about an hour and 30 minutes, hour and 45 minutes. Just because I have stuff I gotta do today, but we'll continue streaming the process, and we'll whatever we don't finish today, we'll finish next time. All right, so let's dive right in. So the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some animations for this guy. So currently he uses this. We can find it here. He uses the starter assets third-person animators controller. So I'm gonna make some modifications to this one. This one is a very simple version, but ultimately I think if we want to just continue to work with this one, then we can add any new animations and whatnot. We did add a second layer here called aiming, and we'll get into that eventually. But for now, I'm gonna find an aim animation. We should already have a bunch, but if we don't, I will go to Mixamo and try to find something. Now there is a bunch of, I don't know how well you can see these, but so we have a bunch of shooting animations here. But most of these are going to look like they're rifle. And I don't want to start him off with a rifle. We are going to need that eventually. You know, as the player finds better weapons, he'll have, you know, those kind of concepts. But thinking for now, just a regular pistol animation should work. I'm not seeing anything. I feel like we do have it though. I'm gonna take a look at something real fast. Because this explosive LLC, this RPG character that they created, he's got a bunch of good stuff in here. I'm gonna drag him into the scene here real quick, just so we can take a look at him. And yeah, he's ginormous and everything. I'm not too worried about that right now. But you will notice this rectangle here, this gray one, that's actually a pistol. And he can either one-hand wield the pistol or two-hand, and he does a pretty good job with that. So if we take a look at his animator, you can see it's way more in-depth. And he's got this shooting concept here. He's even got it where he can do kicks and rolls and jumps, everything while he's carrying a weapon. So it's actually really really nice. This animator is just amazing. Now, if you remember right, we did shy away from using this entire pack because of just how complex it was, and it wasn't quite exactly where we needed it to be. But that doesn't mean that we can't come in and take you know, some of these animations, some of these transitions, whatnot. Let's see if we go back. You can see he's even got idle, injured idle concepts. But what I'm really looking for is one where he's single hand. I almost want to disable everything but the pistols here. Do that real quick. Alright, let's take a look in our scene. Alright, so now you can see he's got, they're not full pistols, they're just rectangles, but they represent, you know, the slide on a pistol. And so now you can see it's a little bit easier to view the animation here. I mean, and they literally have like everything. Turning, the blocking, interacting while you're carrying a weapon, taking damage while you have a weapon. I mean, so this stuff is pretty intense. At some point, you know, it would be nice to um, just be able to take a lot of this stuff. And just kind of copy and paste and put it into ours here. Obviously, we don't need all of the medieval weapon kind of stuff. We really just need this shooting stuff. There is some, you know, crazy stuff they have going on here. I mean, it's I think it's very normal for them to do this. It's just a little bit crazy because we haven't gone through these kind of concepts. But here you can even see they have an integer value that represents what weapon is available, and then there's also a trigger number where they have the trigger and a trigger number. That's kind of like the way we did the index, where we had an index, you know, represent which animation to do for our father character. I think my middle mouse button is starting to go out here. Too bad. Having a hard time panning over on this thing. Okay, so at this point, I'm not sure if we really want to take all of this. I think that would just, I mean, we could eventually, but I think that could just really complicate things. You'd end up doing a lot of troubleshooting and trying to reset this back up, you know, very similarly to theirs. And I'm not sure if that's what I want to do at this point. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is what I was talking about earlier. Is I'm just going to go to Mixamo and grab a pistol animation. I'm going to go ahead and load Mixamo. The screen. If we go to animations, let's type in pistol and see what we get here. You can see we get a bunch of concepts. There's definitely quite a bit. So we do have this pistol idle here. We could start with that. There's also the aim. It actually looks like the reverse. It's kind of like the stop aiming, put the gun away. A little slow for, you know, put the gun away kind of concept. There's also this pistol idle where he's holding the pistol down low instead. I'm gonna take a look at this handgun locomotion pack. I think this is pretty much everything that we see there. Just kind of all combined together. we lost them. There we go. We got strafing and walking, kneeling. Pretty good stuff. Weird. This looks like the pistol height needs to be higher. I don't know why he was aiming kind of down at the ground. But let's download this one here. He's also his other hand is just really weird. Wish that was not the case. Adjust this again. I'm gonna just try real quick, see if there's anything else that we can. This is more of like a pistol shooting concept here. But honestly, I'm not too impressed with these. Fortunately, I mean, I love Mixamo, but at least these particular ones aren't. It's a lot of locomotion stuff, so like just running around, but I don't really see any like nice firing or aiming concepts here. But so for now, I'm gonna take this one here. And then just remember we do FBX for Unity, and we don't need the skin, and so we can just download it. And so now if we go back into our scene here, change this to humanoid. And I'm just gonna duplicate this pistol idle here. And let's drag in our preview. There we go. Dragged in the wrong one. You can see it's pretty janky. That's what I'm worried about. So even if we were to go to our animator for this guy, and if we were to just drag this in, and then let's just make, oh man, mouse, I need to be replaced. If we just take a look at this, what this looks like in the scene. You can see we got two different characters, but that doesn't, to me, that does not look like a pistol holding idle animation. And yeah, I guess we could go in and alter and try to perfect that idle. But the issue is I feel like a lot of these other animations that we grab from Mixamo, we're gonna have that same problem. And so then we're going to have to adjust every single one. I'm not a fan of doing that. It's really time consuming, and I'm really trying to find a way not to do it again. So that means we're back to square one again. I don't know why this has just been such a difficult process to do here for you guys. But I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep plugging away. So if we go back to this guy here, and let's really try to maybe dissect what they got going on here, and see if we can figure this out. So ultimately, what I would like to see him do I'd love to see him, what it looks like when he has just a single pistol, and maybe what it looks like when he's firing. I'm gonna load their test scene. You can see this is what we used to determine which child character we wanted to use, and I also went in and changed it so that this was our character here. Now we had really hard times with the look at concept here, but if we look at just the pistols here, we have him walking around with one pistol. Let's see what. That's the attack. That's the shoot, essentially. There's a couple different versions. It's a little janky. Not perfect. Now this is a child here, and so we could technically get away with not shooting, you know, completely proper. But you can see he's got some aims. And aside from that look at, like he's trying to look at this here. You know, it's not too terribly bad. I wish. I don't even know if, because if we go to relax, for example, he puts his guns away. It's only when he's in combat is he gonna be in this idle state here. Trying to see if I can turn off the look at concept right now. Here we go. Alright, that's better. You can see this is what he would look like in the scene here. If I hold the right mouse button, he does kind of look at something. Wherever my mouse is at, he's going to look at it. Whereas if I let go of the mouse button, he's going to run around and face whatever direction I'm moving on the keyboard. I will say right now I'm not pushing, or I'm moving the mouse around and he's not actually moving directions. So this almost feels more like top down than a third person, if that makes any sense. But in general, if we could find a way to take these animations here it wouldn't be too bad. Now, it doesn't seem to be a way to fire both at the same time. Now, I have an attack left, I have an attack right. I don't see anything that lets him do both at the same time. You can see he can still do kicks with his pistols. Got a couple different types too. Got dodge, rolls. That's why I really liked this particular package. So it's, you know, and I thought we could get this to work, and then look, there's even maces and daggers, and so we could use them even for our use them for like our medieval stuff. But the weird thing is as good as this works, you know, aside from the look at, As weird as this works, as soon as I tried to take it out and put it into a new scene, it now all of a sudden did not work. So let's say if I tried to put in this camera here, not worried about the target and nav, and I will turn off that look at, perfect look at. I'm gonna turn off these GUI controls. And now if we made this a prefab here, and we went back to our scene, Apocalyptic City. We were to drag him looks like we already had one. We were to drag him into the scene here, and I'm going to go ahead and disable this loadout script. This is what loaded our character. You can see right off the bat I'm getting crazy camera issues. I'll go ahead and unpack this prefab. Let's just drag this camera out. Try again. Yeah. So it's just weird. I don't know what I'm missing or what's going on, but it seems like inside the tests level it works great. As soon as I try to pull it out, I have issues. So it's not just a real nice simple, let's grab this character who works and then move him into the other scene. It should be that way, but for some reason it's not. And I don't know if we should sit and spend a lot of time troubleshooting why it doesn't work like that. What I did before is I tried to really fine tune the camera, like, okay, why is it, it does look like it lost its target. Maybe that was a big problem. Nope. What I did before is I was adjusting these concepts here. Trying to fine tune exactly. You know, see if there was like this really good number that just magically worked. And you can see like our character's way over there. No matter what I try to really do here, it seems like I can't even get close to him. Yeah, that's the problems that I've been having here. Oh, man. Problem after problem after problem. That's the name of the game for game dev, I guess, huh? Alright, so let's think about this for a second. Alright. I'll check something out real fast. What I'm really curious now is that when we were able to do it here just fine, Camera seems to work good and all that good stuff. You know, what animations are going on with the dual pistols? If you look at his animator, come on, mouse. Not want to pan over. Alright, so you can see we're armed, and then we have an armed idle, non-shield, then pistol, then an armed idle pistol duel. All of these layers here, different levels to the animator, is absolutely nuts. But then we can actually go into this one, and there's a blend tree here. And you can see armed idle pistol duel. Armed idle pistol duel static. Not sure what the difference. Okay. One he's bouncing, one, and the other one he's not. We have armed idols, non-shield, pistol, and then you have left, right, and dual. Nuts. And then who knows what happens when he actually fires here. Let's pull the animator down here. Try to take a look at this. Hard to really see, I know, but I think there was a left attack. That's a kick, I think. Alright, but we're in dual pistols. That was a kick. We have pistol attack. Underarm attacks. Alright, well, I don't see any other way to do this besides really just diving into this animator. Oh, I apologize, guys. I mean, yeah, we could go out and try to find a third-person shooter character controller that's already designed and already set up for us. I mean, ultimately, we're going to be spending money on that, and I was trying to avoid doing that during this project. We absolutely have to do that. We can. But I'm really trying to avoid it. If we can get this to work, you know, it's going to be a little tedious. It's going to be a little interesting. It's going to be janky. But man, if we can get it to work, it'd be nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, pretty much everything you see here, and I'm going to copy it. Actually, do this a little different. Alright, so we have this animator controller here. I'm actually going to duplicate it. I'll rename this one. Call it RPG controller edit. Oh, interesting. Okay, there we go. Why I was having a hard time with just renaming it. Alright. We have this animator controller here. And so now this is the one that I'm going to work with. This is the one I'm going to adjust. But I do still want to have these concepts here in our new animator here. I'm gonna just copy and paste those in. I wish my mouse was working. There we go. And then if we go back to this one, we also want to copy all of these parameters here. What I'll do is I'll go ahead. I do this a lot. I guess I haven't really done this in the series, but sometimes, you know, I'll just take a snip like this, you know, drag it off into my other screen, and then we'll recreate it now on this controller here. So I just want to double check that we don't actually have any of these parameters. We do already have a speed. You'd think we'd have a jump. We have jumping as 0. We can drag this back over here so you guys can take a look. But in general, we can. Of course, that's not going to stay when I click on Unity, but in general, we want it to be exactly the same for now. And we'll fine-tune it, perfect it later. The jump, Boolean value. We also have grounded. It's pretty standard when it comes to a lot of these things. Are you on the ground? Are you touching the ground? Or are you in? That's also a Boolean value. And then we have another Boolean value called free fall. And then the last one, it looks like motion something. Your value, let's take a look. Motion. First thing. Wrong one. Working on the right. Now we at least have those same concepts here. And then looking back at this, obviously here is our start state, our default state. All right. Now, if we take our player 2 armor character here, and we actually assign this new character controller, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this guy on, and then make sure our manager's turned off still. Yep, it is. And this camera we do not need. That was part of that RPG character. I'm gonna go ahead and delete him. Actually, no. So if we push play again, even though we made changes to his controller, I want to make sure that we can still move around and do stuff that we normally do, and we can't. Looks like we're trying to set a float, so one of those parameters was probably a float, and I made it an integer instead. And let's take a look. Let's call it a third. Looks like speed actually. Could both actually be. Both probably integer value, or it's not integer. Float values. But I want to say our speed should already be float value. I think I just messed up. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. Get speed, jump, grounded, free fall, motion speed. Take a look now. There we go. I could still do everything that we were doing beforehand, but now we have some new. We're getting an error. I just want to check it out real quick. But now we have some other concepts in our animator that we're going to eventually get to. I will start off by deleting things we don't necessarily need, which can be difficult. It's hard to say sometimes what you need and what you don't need. But in general, I think what I'm debating here is, do I want to delete these and only have this animator be used for pistols, or should we just go ahead and leave all of that other concept in case we want to use this exact same animator for our medieval fighting concepts? That's the main question here. And I kind of want to delete things just to simplify at this point, so we can only just look at the pistol stuff. And so that's kind of where I'm leaning to. We can always just copy and paste all of these states again from the other one. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to delete two-hand axe, two-hand bow, crossbow, spear, staff, sword, and there we go. So we're already looking just much more simplified here. And then now if we really look into this, we have this relaxed state, and there's quite a bit of stuff here. I mean, there's even conversation and whatnot. I mean, you got relaxed jumping, you got all of this stuff. So in general, we're gonna kind of want to kind of lean towards using more of their stuff and less of the stuff that we actually. we try to just wonder where they're just relax idle here. We set that as the default state. Take a look at this. Talking. It triggers. And moving equals true. I think that the main issue is when we start moving now. When we start moving now, we don't have anything that's changing the character, changing that animation state. Where what we were using over here with our character is this third-person controller. And it was moving us based off of, you know, our speed, some of our values. It wasn't actually changing anything to moving. So we can set up, I mean, we could essentially do some workarounds here. So let's take a look at this. We could be able to think about this for a second. What I'm curious is, this was normally our default state. And let's look at these parameters here. So jump equals true, free fall equals true. And then if we go into this, it's basically just all based off of speed here. And so technically we can just pull the value from the animator. Called speed. You can store it into another variable called free speed. Let's just do this every frame so we can see this live. See if this is actually working here. We'll go ahead and drag this down. So now, as you see, we're moving forward. Our speed goes all the way up to 2, goes up to 5.3 when we're running. This works good. And so based off of this value, right, we can now do a float compare. And we can just basically say, hey, are you 0? And if you are, then we want to do something. Actually, let's do greater than 0. Thinking best way to do this, since we're doing a check every single frame, I want to see if there's a good way of doing this. Because basically we're saying, hey, is he moving, then we're going to set the Boolean value to is moving. If he's not moving, we're going to set it to false. And so, we constantly need to know, is he moving? Is he not moving? So I'm just thinking about the best way to do this. And ultimately, think what we're going to do, have two different versions of this state. We're gonna have one that says, hey, if it's 0, we're not gonna do anything, but if it's greater than 0, we're gonna move to another state here. And then we can literally do the exact same thing. But now we're gonna say, are you equal to 0? If we're equal to 0, we're gonna go back. And so then we're also going to set that animator. I think it was a bool. No, I said it was a bool, but hoping it actually is. Moving, there we go. So if it's equal to 0, it's going to go back to this state. And so this is basically a not move. And then this would be considered. And what I want to prevent, though, is I don't want to just have an infinite loop here. And so I just wanted to think about this. The only time, and we probably need to do that every frame. Yep. Go ahead and move that up. So now if we go back to the animator here, we go back into the relaxed, we'll set this as the default again. Take a look and see what happens. So we are moving. You can see, take a look at that. We're not moving right now. And then we're moving. So that's working perfectly, but let's take a look at the animator here. What we need to be true is either to have these triggers or moving equal to true. So let's dock that. Moving is true. And it looks like we are moving out to the relaxed movement, which is perfect. That's what we're trying to get at here. Let's take a look at that relaxed movement. Wherever that is at. Oh, there we go. All right, so it looks like, so we have this blend, man, that's pretty crazy. It's based off of our velocity. Not sure. That's not the way we have it currently set up with this third person on here. What to do, what to do. think the best way to do this, I know I probably keep changing what to do. here. But I'm wondering now if we're just adding just too much complexity going with this route. So what I'm debating is just taking certain concepts almost one at a time and apply it to our concept here. If that makes any sense. I mean, I love how complex this animator is, but in order to truly get it to do what we want to do here, we have to simplify it like you wouldn't believe the issue. How do we really simplify it? Now, if we think it out, yeah, we can have an unarmed state, we can have an armed state, and we can have a shooting state. I'm not necessarily sure what the difference between a relaxed state and an unarmed state is, but in general, we would have the 3 unarmed, shooting, and armed. You can see we have quite a bit of stuff that moves from one to the other. We don't necessarily need all of that. It's just really complicated stuff here. Yeah, I know I keep changing stuff on you guys here. This is just something that we gotta figure out. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do it. And yeah, maybe not even the best way, just a way. So what I'm gonna do here, to revert this character back to the way we had him before. I'll go ahead and duplicate him. And so now this is the one that we're going to work on. I'm just going to call this I'm going to call it mix for now. The reason why I'm going to call them that is because I'm debating mixing a concept between the RPG stuff and the third-person stuff. So for example, I might be able to take the weapons controller here, and let's add this into our guy here. We're also going to change our animator controller to that original one. So ultimately, what I really want is on this guy is I want him to be, let's open this up in properties here. What I want is everything as far as movement and combat goes, I want from the RPG character. But we want to still use the player follow camera and the main camera from the third person asset. Hopefully that makes sense. So if we wanted to truly look at what that could potentially be before we even do all of that, I'm going to turn this RPG character back on. But I'm not going to do that. I'm feeling really indecisive today. Let's drag this guy out here. We got this main character. I don't want this camera. And hopefully he doesn't have any camera stuff here. I mean, he's got the look at and the GUI controls. We'll go ahead and turn that on just so we can take a look at it. Everything else looks fine. But now I want to take these the camera player follow and the whatnot, and I want to set it up where now it's following this. We're also going to shrink it down a little bit more appropriately sized. Go ahead and create the empty game object. I'm write this with our roots. And we just need to go to center math. So now on the technically I don't need that. All right. So where was I? I think we want to set up the cameras. I think this one was fine. I think we just need to set up this player follow right here. This would be that camera root. I want to say, I feel like we had something on the actual player itself, didn't we? Right here, yeah. This third-person controller. Oh man. That might be an issue. Yeah, that might be an issue here. Their character controller doesn't have that concept built into it. And I don't think we can combine. I'm pretty sure we can't just take their third person controller and add it to ours, because then it's gonna be trying to do stuff while the RPG one is gonna be trying to do some stuff. I'm not sure. I think this target here though is the actual target, kind of like the look at concept, and so we definitely don't want that. We did have this basically set everything to walkable on this guy. I don't like having to do either. Let's take a look. See what happens. Um, Basically, as soon as I push left or right, the turn concept is just really, really fast. Rotation speed probably needs to be way slower than that. Even slower still. There we go. We got to a spot where it was no longer set to walkable, the walkable layer. So you can see, kind of working here. Not ideal. But if we went to the pistols here, we could actually attack, whatnot, kick. Holding the right mouse button does kind of rotate the camera here. Kind of wish he would actually kind of step around and move like he, was turning. Holding back does some pretty crazy stuff. I wish I had just a little bit more height on him. Not necessarily like this, but I wanted to be able to be able to see more of the top of the character rather than right up on him like this. Doing some weird stuff when I'm in the relaxed state. Oh man. Thinking here. I don't even know if we'd ever even give him the opportunity to have dual pistols. It kind of zooms in. Kind of weird. Oh, man. It's not what I would like to be like. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open up a project that I was working on before. This project, I didn't make it too far into it. It was just something that I wanted to kind of play around with. It's essentially about a pirate who gets stuck on an island and he has to figure out how to get off the island. And what I did in that particular one is I did set up a pretty decent animator controller, third person, and whatnot. And I kind of want to see how I handled it in that project, because I did use that RPG animator controller. So I'm kind of curious, what all was done in that one. So I'm kind of just gonna load it up and compare, take a look and see exactly what's going on. It's been a while since I've opened this project. As you can tell, it's importing everything. I do know in that particular project I did not take the entire RPG character controller or that animator controller. I kind of just took bits and pieces that I wanted or that I needed, and so I just kind of want to take a look and see what's going on. I want to say I didn't use the third person controller from Unity at all, but I do think we used the player follow camera or the main camera, kind of like the Cinemachine concepts there. Because I do think the RPG's camera controller just wasn't cutting it. So Hopefully this thing loads eventually. Go back into our project here though. I hate that it's this difficult. I hate that we're having this problem. Like I said, it is just one of those things that you know, is difficult to set up and especially difficult to fine tune. If you think about like Assassin's Creed and in those games, I mean they are so complex and it's so smooth and it just feels so natural. Those things take and potentially a year to set up and perfect. So it's kind of just the nature of the game. It's hard for me to say, hey, we're gonna do this and we're gonna get it done, you know, in a 2-hour window here while streaming. It's definitely difficult. I'm also very hesitant to use a lot of the RPG stuff because of the issue that we were having in another episode. Is one, we have to not only change every single thing that's walkable to a walkable layer, but also we had problems with just your standard mesh colliders. We had to add a script called BSP tree, which basically takes these colliders and makes it so you can collide with that RPG character. So in general, I really don't actually want to use any of RPG's character controllers or any of that stuff, really. Man, this is taking... Okay, now we're speeding up here. I mean, we might be able to take the weapon controller, but not take any of the movement stuff. You know, we want to be able to switch between the different weapons if we do. The only reason why I was thinking about going with the try to use their movement controller is just because of the way that they have their animator controller set up. If you remember right, it's very, very in-depth. It uses a lot of different concepts from all these different triggers to different velocities. And so in order to truly replicate this, it's going to take a bunch of time. And it seems like either we have to dedicate a bunch of episodes to this, which I don't necessarily want to do, or I'm gonna have to do a bunch of this stuff off camera, which is hard because I said that I was gonna stream the entire process. Or maybe we just have a day where, you know, I dedicate like 8 hours to getting this figured out. I could still stream the entire process if you guys really wanted to sit with me for 8 hours. Or we could, but then when I cut it, I could probably maybe cut it down for YouTube and whatnot, and make it so it's not quite so big. It looks like it's almost loaded. Here we go. Now, if we take a look at this, see, very similar. It's the Cinti Studio package here. I'll go ahead and press play, show you guys what this looks like. Real quick. Hopefully. There we go. So you can see I can move around pretty easily. The camera works pretty nice. I can see all aspects of my character. All of the animations are pretty smooth. And then I want to say, I can't remember the buttons here, but there were some concepts that I could do here. Don't remember the buttons that we did. This is where I can actually adjust the weather. We actually had some different concepts here. So if we can do rain. And what's really nice about this concept is the ground will actually change color and actually start looking wet. Pretty cool. You can see we have the water, and then we also have day and night cycle too, so you can see it's actually getting darker. And then once it gets really dark here, I actually switch some of this stuff to glow a little bit more. So you can see it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool concept, pretty cool islands. The jumping actually works, so we can do that here. We do have fish and turtles and whatnot in the water. But if we look at the actual animator here, you can see we do have quite a few parameters here. You can see here, this is our standard one. I'm just looking to see exactly the way I set this up here. Looks like we have everything on this player. Here we are using the third-person controller from RPG, so that's part of the issue. Which tells me that everything here is not on a walkable layer. There are mesh gliders too. Good to know. We are using the starter assets though, as far as the inputs and whatnot. We're just using the third-person controller and the character controller from third-person controller from the RPG, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is one way to do it, I think. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag this over, and so that we can kind of take a look and see maybe we can set that up. Now I will say, I mean, looking at that other project, you might say, well, the graphics or the rain or the time of day and all that stuff is really cool. We will get to that stuff, and once we do, things will start looking better. Right now we haven't really been focused on the graphic side of the house. We've been trying to set up some of these other concepts, get these nailed down, and then graphics usually kind of comes later on. That project doesn't even have any loading, saving, menu, any of that stuff. It just kind of gets right into some of the mechanics of the game. So basically, I'm gonna kind of just make some changes. I'm gonna copy a lot of the same stuff. So this is basically player here. We went ahead and add an empty game object here, and this was the camera root. And so it was no longer, all the way down here. Now the camera root itself was again center mass. So I will move that up here. On the actual character itself, though, we actually didn't have really anything. Which is interesting because we are in this one, we had the IK hands here. I don't actually see an IK hands on our other version, our pirate version. I know I didn't show you some of the combat stuff, but a lot of that stuff was working. So on the actual player here, we had the animator, so I'll go ahead and copy that over. I'm going to move that up to the top. Unpack the what? My mouse is just not working right today. Let's see. We no longer need this RPG stuff. I don't even think. Yeah, there's no nav mesh agent here. We do have the player inputs, but this is the starter one. No capsule collider, no rigid body, no RPG controller, and definitely no super character controller. Funny. But what we do have is the character controller here. Up. And we got a little bit different stuff here. Don't think I really need to adjust too much of this right now. And then we also needed the third person controller here. So there is actual footsteps here. You can see it's named 1 through 10, so we'll go ahead and set that up. That works. I'll decrease this just a little bit. Call this default. And then this Cinemachine target is that camera root here. Right. Then we're going to use that basic rigid body push. And we'll set it to can push. And then we also have the starter assets input. That looks good. And then of course we have the player input, which I haven't set to keyboard and mouse on there, but I don't think it's gonna really matter here. But then on this one, we do need the starters assets here, third person. Otherwise, that looks good. We don't have anything on the actual camera root here. And we have, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. On the actual character here, we no longer need this animator here. I think I'm gonna leave this IK hands for now. And we'll see if that's gonna break anything. I doubt it's going to. That's all on the player himself here. And so we do have these outside of the player. Fine. I'm going to take a look at these, see how this is set up. So everything looks good here. They're all about the same. Yeah. I think that looks good. Double checking a couple things. All right. And then now with this player follow camera, I just want to make sure that we're good to go. I will that camera root here. Everything else looks good. Set this vertical arm into 0.6. Distance was 5. Everything else is about the same. Now, there are some other concepts that we did. I'll show you here. Oh, hey, Andre. Sorry, just now noticed you joining. Man, I think I totally missed you. If I did, I'm sorry. But yeah, we're basically still working on the camera controller and the character controller, and I resorted to pulling up an old project of mine, and I'm seeing how I did it there, and I'm just hoping to make it a little bit easier, because I don't want to dedicate a crap ton of time to doing this, and I actually have to leave early today as well, so I'll probably be leaving in about 10 minutes. But if we go back to this, I was showing you, I did set up some character controller concepts for Playmaker. And so you can see, we had quite a bit of concepts like pushing buttons. So it looks like a lot of it was the keypad where we can actually do a bunch of stuff. This is all just kind of temporarily set up just for troubleshooting. Obviously we would create like a UI element that we can click instead of having to press a bunch of buttons for this. So you'll notice here, this is probably the big one. This is where we're basically setting our velocity, and we're doing that for the animator, because remember the animator really needed that in order to be able to blend the animations properly. So if we, let's say if I take you know, some of these concepts here, all of the blue stuff, you know, we would need to, you know, redefine in our other script, you know, because we're just dragging over the reference here. And so if we were going to try to copy this exact Playmaker script, we'd either do it one state at a time, which is a little tough, a little slow of a process here. But even if I were to, let's say, take this and pull it into the scene, and that makes a prefab, and then we show it in the Explorer now. I'll show you exactly what it looks like. And so now if I were to drag this into our scene here, we now have this character controller prefab, and I can drag it and put it under managers. So now we have everything basically. But if we take a look at this, obviously we would need to unpack this prefab completely. Now take a look. See, most of the blue states now are gonna have errors because they now lost their reference. And so that's part of the issue. I mean, it's a little bit faster, you know, because now I don't have to create these from scratch, but you're still going to have to use the other project as a reference. Like, okay, what did we reference here, and so on and so forth. Also, in the other project, we would need our updated version of the animator controller. So you can see this one, even though it's called starter assets third person, obviously I've made quite a few changes. And we have quite a bit of parameters added as well. So this particular one, I'll go ahead and name it something different now. If we were to show this in the Explorer and then drag this into our scene, this is the one that we would want here. And so now you take a look, and pretty much everything is a nice same. Some of these weren't, like, for example, the shooting mechanism wasn't actually set up yet, so you know, we would still have to get to that at some point. But I think this is a good start, a good like base, essentially. And so our goal would be now to go into Playmaker and now fix all of these errors here. You can see we have 40 of them. And compare it to the new scene, or sorry, the other project, and see exactly the way that we set that up. You can see this one, you know, it's a lot of this just setting parameters, you know, dragging in over these references. It's not going to take too terribly long to do that, especially since we have a nice reference. But it is something that we would need to do. I will say also in this particular animator, because this is a pirate, I did set up some drunk concepts, so you can walk around drunk. Here you go, right here. He stumbles and whatnot. We don't necessarily need that for the kid here, but maybe that's something that would be fun to do with one of our levels, our dream levels. And so I think I'm running out of time here, and unfortunately I have to go for today. But I think now that's basically what we're gonna do. We're gonna compare the two projects, and we're gonna try to get this character as close to the other project as we can. I really liked the way that was. It was very smooth. You know, it just made a lot of sense, and of course it would be easier at that point to really you know, fine tune it, you know, because what we were using right now just seemed a little clunky and just not what I was hoping for. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all the comments and whatnot. We'll see you guys next time. I appreciate it. See ya.